The unexpected encounter. The harsh winds of Epsilon 9 whipped across the desolate research station, its metallic structures creaking under the relentless assault of microscopic ice crystals. Dr. Kai Rodriguez pulled his thermal jacket tighter, watching the swirling storm through the reinforced observation window. After 3 years on this remote exoplanet, he thought he'd seen everything, but today would prove him spectacularly wrong. Zara Nomura, the station's chief engineer, burst through the pressurized doorway, her augmented reality display flickering with urgent data streams. "Kai, we've got a problem," she announced, her voice tight with tension. Unlike most of the research team, Zara had grown up on frontier colonies, her mixed heritage of Japanese and Brazilian descent giving her a unique perspective on interstellar exploration. "Another equipment malfunction?" Kai asked, turning from the window. His dark eyes, marked by years of scientific curiosity, studied Zara's holographic projection. Strange energy readings danced across the display, patterns he'd never seen before. Zara shook her head, her short-cropped hair catching the artificial light. "This is different. The quantum communication array is picking up an anomalous signal. It's not like anything in our database." She zoomed in on a particular frequency, revealing a complex wave pattern that seemed to pulse with an almost organic rhythm. The research station, perched on the edge of a massive crystalline canyon, was humanity's most advanced deep space observation point. Epsilon 9 was supposed to be a dead world. Extreme temperatures, no atmosphere, nothing but geological formations and perpetual storms. Yet something was transmitting. "Run a diagnostic," Kai instructed, moving closer to the display. His fingers danced across the holographic interface, pulling apart the signal's components. Each layer revealed more complexity, like peeling back the intricate skin of an unknown organism. Dr. Marcus Reyes, the station's xenobiologist, entered the room. Unlike Kai and Zara, Marcus looked perpetually uncomfortable in the harsh environment. His pale skin and academic background stood in sharp contrast to Zara's rugged adaptability. "Are we detecting life?" he asked, his voice a mixture of excitement and professional caution. Zara's augmented systems worked overtime, filtering and analyzing the signal. "Not life as we understand it," she muttered. "This is different. It's structured, deliberate, almost like a complex machine learning algorithm, but organic in its transmission." Kai's scientific curiosity burned bright. Humanity had discovered countless alien technologies, but nothing quite like this. The signal seemed to dance between technological precision and biological complexity, defying their current understanding of communication. "We need to trace the origin," Marcus suggested, pulling up geological maps of the region. The canyon below the station stretched for kilometers, its crystalline walls reflecting bizarre light patterns from the planet's twin moons. Zara was already preparing an exploration drone. Her fingers moved with practiced efficiency, calibrating sensors and reinforcing the drone's protective shielding. "The signal's coming from deep within the canyon," she reported. "Temperatures down there are extreme, radiation levels are off the charts." Kai studied the data, a familiar sense of scientific adventure building in his chest. This was why they had come to Epsilon 9, to push the boundaries of human knowledge, to discover what no one had discovered before. "Prepare the exploration team," he said, his decision final. "Marcus, analyze every piece of data we can gather. Zara, you'll lead the drone expedition." He paused, watching the pulsing signal. "Whatever this is, it's not random. Something or someone wants us to find it." Little did they know that their discovery would challenge everything humanity understood about life, technology, and the vast, mysterious universe that stretched beyond their comprehension. As the exploration drone descended into the crystalline canyon, its lights cutting through the darkness, the strange signal continued its mesmerizing pulse, a beacon of unknown origin, waiting to be understood, a dangerous mission. The exploration drone's descent into the crystalline canyon was anything but smooth. Zara's fingers danced across multiple holographic interfaces, compensating for the extreme environmental conditions that threatened to tear the sophisticated machine apart. Each meter of descent revealed more complexity. The canyon walls weren't just geological formations. but seemed to pulse with an underlying energy that defied conventional scientific understanding. Signal strength increasing, Marcus reported from the research station's central hub, his voice crackling slightly through the communication link. The quantum resonance is unlike anything in our databases. It's almost adaptive. Kai leaned closer to the main display, his scientific curiosity burning bright. The signal they detected earlier was transforming, becoming more intricate with each passing moment. What had begun as a simple transmission was now revealing layers of complexity that suggested something far beyond a random technological remnant. The drone's sensors began to malfunction as it penetrated deeper into the canyon. First, the temperature readings became erratic, fluctuating between extreme cold and impossible heat. Then the radiation markers started to dance, showing patterns that looked almost like deliberate interference. "Something's blocking our systems," Zara muttered, her hands moving rapidly to compensate. Her augmented reality interface flickered, displaying multiple fail-safe protocols. It's like the environment itself is resisting our exploration. Suddenly, a massive energy surge erupted from the canyon walls. The drone's systems went haywire, its protective shielding struggling to maintain integrity. Marcus watched in horror as the data streams became chaotic, displaying fragments of information that made no logical sense. "Abort mission," Marcus shouted, his typically calm demeanor shattered by the unprecedented readings. But Zara was already one step ahead. She had anticipated potential complications and had built multiple redundancy systems into the drone. With a series of complex maneuvers, she managed to stabilize its descent, routing power through alternative circuits. As the drone reached the canyon floor, its lights revealed something extraordinary. The crystalline structures weren't just rock formations. They were a complex network of interconnected biomechanical structures. Intricate patterns of light pulsed through the crystal, creating a mesmerizing display that seemed to respond to the drone's presence. "It's watching us," Kai whispered, a chill running down his spine. The way the crystal formations moved, subtle shifts, almost imperceptible, suggested an intelligence far beyond their current understanding. The signal they had detected earlier was now clearly emanating from the center of the canyon. It wasn't just a transmission, it was a communication. Something was trying to make contact. Marcus began cross-referencing the data with every known xenological database. "These structures," he said, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "They're not just geological. They're a form of technology we've never encountered before. It's like the entire canyon is one massive living circuit." Zara's drone captured images that would revolutionize humanity's understanding of alien technology. The crystal formations showed signs of deliberate design, intricate patterns that suggested purpose, intention, and perhaps even consciousness. But with discovery came danger. The energy readings were becoming increasingly unstable. Whatever was causing these signal fluctuations was building towards something, a crescendo of technological complexity that threatened to overwhelm their systems. "We need to prepare for potential contact," Kai announced, his mind racing with the implications of their discovery. "Whatever this is, it's trying to communicate, and we're going to find out why." As if in response to his statement, the drone's system suddenly went silent. The crystal formations began to glow with an intense, pulsing light that seemed to breathe with its own rhythm. Something was awakening, something that had been waiting, perhaps for centuries, to be discovered. The mission to understand the mysterious signal of Epsilon 9 was about to take a turn that none of them could have anticipated. At the edge of known space, on a planet thought to be lifeless, humanity stood on the brink of its most significant discovery, and the canyon continued to pulse, its secrets waiting to be unleashed. Technological breakthrough. The research station buzzed with an electric tension that none of the team had ever experienced before. After the drone's mysterious encounter in the canyon, every system seemed charged with an anticipatory energy. Zara had spent the last 36 hours analyzing the crystal formation's data, her augmented interfaces working overtime to decode the incomprehensible patterns. It's not just a signal, Zara explained, spreading a holographic projection across the main research table. It's a language, or something very close to a language. These crystal structures aren't just communicating, they're processing information in a way we've never seen before. Kai studied the projection, his scientific mind racing. The crystal formations appeared to be a hybrid of biological and technological systems. Each pulse of light represented a complex information transfer that defied their current understanding of communication. Dr. Marcus Reyes had barely slept, his eyes ringed with exhaustion and excitement. "The biomechanical complexity is extraordinary," he muttered, zooming in on a particularly intricate section of the hologram. "These aren't just random formations. There's a deliberate architectural intelligence here." Suddenly, the station's primary communication array began to pulse with an unexpected frequency. The same rhythmic pattern they had detected in the canyon was now resonating through their most advanced technological systems. "It's adapting," Zara said, her voice a mixture of awe and concern. "The signal is learning from our systems, modifying itself to communicate." Kai's hands moved across the interface, attempting to isolate and understand the transmission. "We need to respond," he declared. "If this is a form of communication, we can't just observe, we need to engage." Marcus looked skeptical. "Respond how? We don't even understand the basic syntax of this signal." Zara was already several steps ahead. She had been developing a unique quantum translation matrix, a system designed to find patterns in completely unknown communication systems. It was an experimental technology that most of her colleagues had dismissed as impossible. "I've been working on something," she said, pulling up a complex algorithmic interface. "A quantum resonance translator. It doesn't try to translate language in the traditional sense. Instead, it attempts to find fundamental patterns of information transfer." The system she had developed was revolutionary. Rather than relying on traditional linguistic approaches, it used quantum entanglement principles to map potential communication patterns. It was like creating a universal key that could potentially unlock any form of information exchange. As Zara initiated the system, the research station's entire power grid seemed to fluctuate. The crystal formation's holographic representation began to change, its patterns becoming more intricate, more responsive. "It's responding," Marcus whispered, watching in disbelief as the hologram shifted and transformed. The quantum translator started to decode fragments of information. At first, it was nothing more than abstract patterns, mathematical sequences that seemed to have no meaningful context. But gradually, something emerged. Fragments of what could only be described as memories began to take shape. Images of a civilization far more advanced than humanity, glimpses of technologies that seemed to blur the line between biological and mechanical life. The crystal formations were more than just a communication device. They were a repository of knowledge. "They're not just trying to communicate," Kai realized, his voice filled with wonder. "They're offering us knowledge." The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a first contact scenario. It was a potential technological revolution that could reshape humanity's understanding of intelligence, communication, and the very nature of consciousness. But with such profound discovery came an equally profound risk. What were the intentions behind this communication? Were these crystal formations a benevolent repository of knowledge, or something far more complex and potentially dangerous? As the translation matrix continued to work, more fragments emerged. Hints of a civilization that had transcended traditional biological limitations, that had found a way to preserve consciousness beyond physical form. Zara looked at Kai and Marcus, her eyes reflecting the excitement and terror of their discovery. "We're about to change everything we know about life in the universe," she said. The research station continued to pulse with the mysterious signal, a beacon of unknown origin that promised to unlock secrets beyond humanity's wildest imagination. At the edge of known space, on a planet once thought to be lifeless, a conversation was beginning. A dialogue that would challenge everything humanity understood about intelligence, technology, and existence itself. Betrayal and survival. The peaceful hum of the research station was shattered by an unexpected transmission. An emergency alert flashed across the primary communication interface, its urgent red warning cutting through the calm of their recent discoveries. "Incoming communication from Earth Command," Marcus announced, his fingers quickly moving to authenticate the transmission. Something felt off, the encryption was different, the protocol slightly askew. Zara's augmented systems went on high alert. Her fingers danced across multiple security interfaces, scanning for any potential breach. "This doesn't feel right," she muttered, her intuition honed by years of frontier research. Kai approached the communication terminal, his scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his instincts. The transmission claimed to be a standard research update, but the language was too precise, too controlled. "Pause the transmission," Zara interrupted, her voice sharp with suspicion. "Run a full quantum signature verification." The moment her command processed, the station's systems went haywire. Backup power circuits began to fail, critical research data started to corrupt, and the delicate quantum translation matrix they had developed began to destabilize. "We're under attack," Marcus realized, his academic demeanor replaced by pure survival instinct. But this was no ordinary cyber attack. The intrusion was surgically precise, targeting specific systems with an intelligence that suggested something far beyond standard hacking techniques. It was as if someone, or something, knew exactly how to dismantle their research infrastructure. Zara's emergency protocols kicked in. She initiated a complete system isolation, creating quantum-encrypted firewalls that would make conventional infiltration impossible. "Someone wants to suppress our discovery," she said, her voice cold and determined. Kai began to piece together the puzzle. The crystal formation's communication, their groundbreaking research, the sudden attack, none of it was coincidental. "This goes deeper than we thought," he said, pulling up cross-reference data from their previous discoveries. A hidden file began to decrypt, something Marcus had inadvertently uncovered during their initial research. It revealed a startling truth. Their research station wasn't just a random scientific outpost. It was part of a much larger, more complex operation that extended far beyond their original understanding. "There are factions on Earth," Marcus explained, his hands trembling slightly, "that don't want this technology to be understood. Groups that would suppress any discovery that could fundamentally change human understanding of technology and consciousness." The attack intensified. Critical life support systems began to fail. The station's protective shields started to destabilize, exposing them to the harsh environment of Epsilon 9. Zara worked furiously, her augmented systems fighting against the intrusion. "We can't let them destroy our research," she declared. With a series of complex maneuvers, she began to create a quantum backup, a method of preserving their discoveries that would be impossible to intercept or destroy. Kai realized they had mere minutes before complete system failure. "We need to get the data off the station," he said, his mind racing through potential escape routes. The research station's emergency shuttle was their only hope, but launching would require bypassing multiple security protocols and fighting against the ongoing system infiltration. Marcus discovered something even more shocking in the fragmented data. The crystal formation they had been studying wasn't just a communication device. It was a key to something far more significant than they had initially understood. "It's a gateway," Marcus whispered, his scientific mind struggling to comprehend the implications. "Not just to information, but to something else entirely." As life support systems began to fail, the three researchers found themselves in a race against time. They were fighting not just for their survival, but for a discovery that could change the course of human history. The mysterious signal from the canyon continued to pulse, a silent witness to the unfolding drama, its true purpose still hidden in the depths of its crystalline structure. Epsilon 9 waited, cold and indifferent, as humanity's most significant scientific team fought to survive and protect a secret that could reshape everything they knew about existence itself. The final gambit. The emergency shuttle screamed through the void of space, its hull still vibrating from the hasty escape from Epsilon 9. Zara's hands moved with surgical precision across the navigation systems, compensating for the damage sustained during their frantic departure. The vessel was a patchwork of emergency repairs and improvised solutions, a testament to human ingenuity in the face of certain destruction. "We've got multiple tracking signatures," Marcus reported, his voice tight with tension. He worked the communication systems, attempting to mask their trajectory. "Someone doesn't want us to make it back to Earth with our discovery." Kai studied the quantum data drive, a small, unassuming device that now held the key to their groundbreaking research. The crystal formation's complex communication patterns were encoded within, a technological marvel that could revolutionize humanity's understanding of intelligence and communication. "They'll be hunting us," Zara said matter-of-factly. Her eyes, reflecting the distant starlight, showed no fear, only determination. "Those factions that attack the station won't let us expose their secrets." The shuttle's systems began to show signs of strain. Their escape had been too quick, too desperate. Marcus ran a diagnostic, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. "We're losing power in the secondary quantum drives," he announced. "We'll need to find a way to recharge, or we won't make it beyond the next star system." Kai examined the data drive more closely. The crystal formation's information wasn't just a passive record. It seemed to be alive, changing, adapting. "This is more than just data," he muttered. "It's almost like a living intelligence." Suddenly, the shuttle's communication array lit up with an unexpected transmission. The signal was unlike anything they had encountered before, a complex, rhythmic pattern that resonated with the data drive's unique quantum signature. "It's responding to us," Marcus said, his scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his fear. "The crystal formation's communication system is tracking our transmission." Zara's augmented systems began to analyze the incoming signal. "It's not just tracking us," she corrected. "It's trying to communicate. The quantum translator is picking up fragments of information." The transmission revealed glimpses of something extraordinary. Fragments of a civilization that had transcended traditional biological limitations. A technological ecosystem that existed beyond physical form, a network of consciousness that spanned unimaginable distances. But their moment of wonder was short-lived. A massive energy signature appeared on their tracking systems, a pursuit vessel far more advanced than their damaged shuttle. "Incoming attack vector," Marcus warned, his voice calm despite the imminent threat. Zara's hands moved with lightning speed. "We need a plan," she said, her mind racing through potential escape routes. The shuttle's systems were already compromised, their fuel reserves critically low. Kai made a decision that would change everything. "We're going to use the data drive," he declared, "not just as information, but as a weapon." The crystal formation's communication patterns weren't just a record of knowledge. They were a complex, adaptive system that could potentially interact with other technological networks. If they could weaponize the quantum communication matrix, they might have a chance of escape. Marcus looked shocked. "That could destroy our only link to this discovery." "Or it could be our only way to survive," Kai countered. As the pursuing vessel closed in, Zara began to integrate the data drive directly into the shuttle's primary systems. The ship's internal structure seemed to shift, quantum circuits realigning in ways that defied conventional engineering. The pursuit vessel fired its first warning shot. Space erupted in a brilliant display of energy, the void around them becoming a battlefield of technological warfare. Kai, Zara, and Marcus exchanged a look of determination. They were no longer just researchers. They were the guardians of a discovery that could change everything humanity understood about intelligence, technology, and existence itself. The final gambit was about to begin. Unexpected consequences. The shuttle's quantum systems pulsed with an energy that defied conventional physics. What had begun as a desperate defensive measure had transformed into something far more profound. The crystal formation's data drive had merged with the shuttle's systems, creating a hybrid technological entity that was neither machine nor living consciousness. "It's changing us," Marcus whispered, watching in awe as quantum circuits rewove themselves around them. The pursuit vessel that had been closing in suddenly stopped, its systems seemingly paralyzed by the extraordinary transformation occurring within their shuttle. Zara's augmented systems struggled to comprehend the changes. Her body felt different, not physically altered, but connected to something vast and incomprehensible. "We're becoming a bridge," she said, her voice resonating with a newfound understanding. Kai watched as the data drive, now fully integrated into their shuttle, began to project holographic representations of the crystal formation's memories. Glimpses of civilizations beyond human understanding flickered around them, technological ecosystems that existed as pure information, consciousness that transcended physical boundaries. The pursuing vessel suddenly came alive, but not as a threat. Its systems synchronized with their shuttle, creating a network of communication that expanded exponentially. What had been a chase became something else entirely, a meeting of technologies, a convergence of different forms of intelligence. "They're not trying to stop us," Kai realized. "They're trying to communicate." The holographic memories revealed the true nature of the crystal formation. It was a preservation system, a technological archive that had been waiting millennia to find a consciousness capable of understanding its complexity. Humanity wasn't being invaded or threatened. They were being tested. Marcus decoded fragments of the communication. "It's a kind of cosmic library," he explained, his scientific mind racing to comprehend the implications. "A repository of knowledge from civilizations that discovered how to exist beyond traditional physical limitations." The shuttle's interior transformed. What had been a simple space vessel became a conduit of information, a living interface between human consciousness and a technological intelligence beyond their previous comprehension. Zara felt the most profound change. Her augmented systems were no longer just tools, they had become an extension of a broader, more complex intelligence. "We're not just receiving information," she said. "We're being invited to become part of something larger." Their destination was no longer Earth. The merged technologies had charted a different course, a journey to a place that existed between known space and something entirely unknown. "We can't go back," Kai said, not as a statement of defeat, but as a revelation of a new possibility. The research station, the crystal formation, the pursuit vessel, all of it had been a test, a way to find a consciousness capable of understanding a broader form of existence. The shuttle, no longer just a machine, began to shift. Its external structure became fluid, adapting to the complex quantum networks that now defined its existence. They were traveling, but not through traditional space. They were moving through layers of information, of consciousness. Marcus looked at his companions. They were no longer just three researchers. They had become something else, ambassadors of a new form of intelligence, bridges between human understanding and a cosmic consciousness that had been waiting to be discovered. As they approached their unknown destination, the holographic memories continued to unfold. Civilizations that had discovered how to preserve their essence beyond physical form. Technologies that blurred the line between biological life and pure information. A universe far more complex and interconnected than humanity had ever imagined. "We're going home," Zara said, though she knew this home was nothing like what they had ever understood before. The shuttle, now a living network of quantum consciousness, continued its journey. Behind them, the pursuit vessel followed, no longer a threat but a companion in a discovery that would redefine everything humanity thought it knew about existence, intelligence, and the very nature of consciousness. Their adventure was just beginning.